Let's go straight back into the video. Today's video is what if Aljandro brick swap seasons. This idea was by Dylan BB4403. Thank you for your suggestion. And let's begin. So Brick gets put on to Team Chris, and we'll talk about how this event would go. So Brick would have a thumb wrestling match with Tyler before. Obviously, he's not familiar with Lindsay and Bridget at this point, as Brick would race to the top. Tyler and Brick would race each other, with Brick narrowly beating Tyler. Of course, Brick says he should be team leader. Tyler saying sure, if that's what he wants. Tyler says it would not be better for who we decided to be his team leader. Tyler says he had super strong fingers, and that could be a great way. With Brick saying since he crossed first, he should be team leader. Tyler says he is their star player, and he should be team leader. Brick and Tyler then debate over this, with Tyler saying they should have a thumb wrestling match, with Tyler being Brick and Brick commanding Tyler as their team leader. In episode 2, Izzy and Sierra would swap teams, with Brick carrying the goat and Sierra weaving the boats, and Ezekiel is still using the stick. In episode 3, the Japan episode, with Howard coming up with the commercial, Noah does the monster idea, with Cody and Sierra doing what they did the original. Brick and Tyler are being friends really fast. Noah realizes Owen and Izzy are a couple, and that could be threatening. So Owen is the monster, and Noah says he needs to talk to Tyler and Brick. He needs to try and get Tyler and Brick separately as a duo when Izzy and Owen aren't looking. Of course, Team Victory still lose the challenge, and they vote for DJ, as without Aljandro to convince DJ to quit, Howard remains eliminated. So DJ is out. Episode 4 is the Yukon. Now, Howard pulls, Tyler pulls, and Courtney. And at the resonating spots, Noah and Brick are together. And before Owen and Izzy arrive, Noah talks to Brick and Tyler on how they need to make an alliance to get Owen and Izzy out. Brick says why should they, and they are a couple. Brick says he shouldn't break couples apart, as he says is his code of honor. And Noah says that's true, but if let's say that, well, you or Tyler go, let's say if I'm gone, who do you think they're going to choose in the end? Once you two are out, Owen's going to pick Izzy, and he's going to take me out next. We can see a confessional of Noah saying, well, he doesn't know that for certain, he can't take the chance. With Brick and Tyler, although Brick is hesitant, he does accept, knowing full well that as a soldier out of line, that they need to do this in order for their team to have their best team members. As Tyler says that he is not sure in this, Brick says they don't have to make a decision right now. Noah says come to him later, and while they don't have to make a decision yet, he needs them on side when the time comes. He needs to know that he's got their back. He hopes they do the same. Owen arrives, followed by Izzy, with Tyler and Brick remaining quiet, saying to Owen and Izzy, "Great, let's go." Heather is complaining, meanwhile, on the carriage on Team Amazon. Team Victory come second place after Owen cracks the ice, leaning his and Elwin, with Brick dragging Owen into the carriage, meaning that Team Chris travel a lot faster. Now this is the case. Team Victory comes second, with Team Amazon losing the challenge, with them voting for Heather, like normal. Episode 5, Team Chris win the milk grinder, so Team Chris get the helmets, thanks to Tyler. In episode 6 is an aftermath. Episode 7, Slap Slap Revolution. So Brick would tell them to use the meat grinder, and Brick would say to Tyler, Owen would be chasing Izzy, trying to get her to calm down as she's running around everywhere. Noah goes to Tyler and Brooks says, well, are you in or are you out? Brooks says he's in and happy to help get rid of Owen or Izzy for the sake of the numbers. Although he doesn't like this, he does agree with Noah. He's wise and pretty smart, and Noah's still a good person. Tyler also agrees as a result. Noah says while it might be more threatening to have Brick or Tyler, in the long run, they would actually be more beneficial to the team. So he might have, as a result. Noah then talks about this. At this point, Noah and Owen still have their friendship arc. After this, Team Chris win, with Team Victory coming second place, Team Ansel coming second place, and Team Victory coming second. Shauna, Harold, Izzy, Brooke and Tyler do the Tyler and Izzy do the challenge, with Courtney, Sierra, and Cody competing on Team Amazon. The challenge starts, and Cody gets hit off the platform, which makes Sierra use her rage powers. Shawn and Harold are just no match against Brick, Tyler, Izzy, Courtney, and enraged Sierra, making Team Victory go to elimination. Shawn and Harold vote for Lindsay, and Bridget and Lindsay vote for Harold, and in that tiebreaker, I believe Lindsay's out. In episode 8, Tyler would be devastated on how Lindsay is eliminated, and she just remembered him. Tyler would also blame himself. Brick says not to worry about it for her. Brick says not to worry that you can always win the competition for her. Tyler says he can, and he's happy to take his friends to the end. Noah says they can, but for now they need to play cool. Team Victory would go left like they do in the original, with Tyler not being very sure where to go. Noah says it'd be easier to follow them so they don't lose today's challenge. Gwen would say let's go right, and of course the team Amazon lose the challenge. And in this universe they would vote Sierra, but it's actually a non-elimination round, which sucks for all of them, with Sierra being devastated on how her team could pull her off this early on. Especially Cody. Cody tries to apologize for the entire episode, with Team Victory definitely winning this challenge as Lindsay almost won by herself. Team Chris are able to win the challenge with ease, and fortunately for Sierra, Cody is still voting her off. In episode 10 is New Face on the Block, Gwen and Courtney lose the challenge, but it's a non-elimination. In episode 11 is Jamaica with Izzy jumping out the plane, and Owen in the infirmary. Noah says if Izzy were... We then see a confessional of Noah explaining if Izzy does get out of the hospital, they can always vote her off and losing today's challenge. However, if they still lose today's challenge and Izzy is medically evacuated, Noah has to consider different options. Tyler, Brick, and Noah are able to win, with Lashawna, Harold, and Bridget winning as well, as Harold's mad skills and Bridget's surfing experience is very good in this challenge. However, Courtney and Gwen and Cody are just unable to keep up. Gwen's in the infirmary, so Courtney and Cody have to do all the work and are not able to win, sending them to elimination. Seeing that Courtney gets eliminated because Gwen and Cody are closer. Sure, she's close to Courtney, but she's extremely close to Cody. Episode 12 is an aftermath. Episode 13 is Icy London. So Noah, Owen, Brick, and Tyler would find Duncan, would find Jack the Ripper, because on the stretch table, Brick would just hit Jack the Ripper so Tyler wouldn't get caught. Gwen finds Duncan, and she has only rat Duncan, so Duncan's second prize is from Team Chris, and then it's just a matter of nothing. So Sean and Harold vote Bridget. So the kiss still happened between Gwen and Duncan, and Tyler witnesses. Tyler was afraid to tell anything, and Noah considers Duncan as a option in his alliance to get out Brick or Tyler. And Duncan would volunteer, and Gwen But Noah explains if he gets Tyler to reveal something what he has, this might be good information for later on. Tyler and Noah are confused, but Noah says that it's okay, he can trust him, and he doesn't have to tell anyone else. Tyler is very hesitant to, because unlike Aljandro, Noah is going to be a lot more schemier about it, as his style is a schemer, so I feel like Noah would be more schemish about it than Aljandro was. Because Aljandro wanted Tyler to reveal the whole thing because Courtney's here, but Courtney's not here anymore, so it wouldn't be, like, it is a big thing, but, like, it wouldn't be as big of a drama. There would be a lot less drama there'd be literally no drama, really, like, except for Cody, but even then, there's no drama for anyone else. And maybe Harold, but I think definitely Cody. I think Gwen and Duncan, Gwen still wins the challenge, because I don't think LaShawn would do that well here. I think the fighting parts Harold, Cody, and Noah, as Noah will say to Tyler, "You owe me one," with Tyler nodding. We then see Brick doing the hurdles, Cody and Lashana. Of course, Tyler messes up, Cody messes up, and Lashana wins with Brick doing hurdles, with Brick winning the challenge. The tie break between Harold, Cody, and Tyler, with Tyler failing miserably, and Harold able to win. Now, Team Chris would have to go to elimination, but Noah says that he might keep Tyler around in order to get the secret he's getting. And getting rid of Brick would ruin his trust with Tyler. So his only chance is to get rid of Duncan. But Chris would keep Duncan around, as he explains that he wants to keep Duncan in. So Duncan is saved, as it's a non-elimination. In episode 15 is the X-Files. And of course, when Brick and Duncan's off by himself, Noah gets Harsher 51. Brick and Tyler are off together. And Noah talks to Tyler and gets Brick to go off by himself. Brick leaves, trying to look for Owen, and Tyler says he found it's so difficult, keeping this, so difficult about keeping Duncan and Gwen's kiss. Wait till Courtney finds out, and Noah says, they kissed. Huh. And Tyler's like, oh no. Noah explains no worries, he's not going to call him out, but Noah has a bit of a plan in order for them to succeed in today's challenge. Cody clones himself again, and LaShawn and Harold just can't find an artifact. We then see Brick being attacked, with Tyler going to run to him and Duncan saving him, with sending Tyler to the control battle and Brick in the control pouch reaches Owen. Brick and Tyler are carrying Owen, and Noah smash behind the guys just out of the minefield, and LaShawn and Harold lose the challenge, with Cody and Gwen winning, and Harold loses the tiebreaker. Episode 16, Paying Dork, Owen takes around his emu, and they have a song called Star till Owen gets there. So I think LaShawn, Gwen, and Cody have staff me believe they'd win today's challenge. And Duncan has that deal with Tyler and Brick. So because Duncan doesn't know that Tyler told Noah about the kiss, Duncan would get Brick and Tyler to vote for Owen, and Noah and Owen would vote for Duncan. But Duncan points out that Owen was in the finale before and did win a season, and he'd likely won a popularity contest, which is enough to convince Brick. However, Tyler isn't really sure because he's friends with Owen, but Duncan would say to Tyler that he does consider him, that he's impressed that he didn't tell anyone the secret about the kiss. And he says if he doesn't, he will just vote him off instead. And Tyler is friends with Noah, and although he doesn't want to betray Noah's trust, Tyler reluctantly votes for Owen, as he calls him today's challenge, so Owen is eliminated. Noah is shocked because he wanted to get rid of Duncan, but he realized that we have a confession of Noah saying that, well, he did consider whether or not Tyler would actually vote with him to get rid of Duncan, but we see a flashback of Noah seeing Brooke and Tyler being saved by Duncan just minutes before he arrived. He explained that Duncan and Tyler was honorable and he had a deal. So, because you got my best friend out, you're next, Duncan. Episode 17, Sweet and Sour. There's no reveal Gwen's face because Gwen is still here. Brick and Tyler, Duncan would be to the guys and how they need to get Noah out next. But Noah talks to Duncan on how they need to work together to get out Brick and Tyler, and Duncan says, why should he? Noah simply points out the logic in this situation, like, once I'm gone, they're just going to vote for you next. And Duncan says it's nearly the merge, so it's not too far off. But he does say that he'll consider it. Duncan then has a confessional realizing that Noah's right, he has to work with them. Luckily, this is just a reward challenge, and there's no significant event in this challenge. Blaney would still rejoin, and Owen saying he's not mad at Duncan for running him off. And now we're at the merge. Brooke and Tyler are at the merge. So now this is the change. Let's talk about who goes. Lane's a new contestant, so she doesn't have to compete. Tyler and Lashana. Duncan and Gwen. Actually, okay, so Blaney and Noah. Gwen and Cody and Duncan. Brooke and Gwen. So, Duncan and Blaney. Cody. Alright. So Noah and Blaney fall. Tyler and Lashana. And I think Brooke and Gwen would get to the end before Duncan and Gwen. So, because Duncan would be by himself, Brooke and Tyler would be in an alliance, and Noah has a plan on how to get the next person out. So Noah talks to Cody on how, hey, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but it's about Gwen. Duncan kissed Gwen. And Cody, when he hears about the kiss, he wants to get out Duncan, so he's completely on Noah's side. This annoys Tyler and says, what's he doing? I thought he was gaining his trust. Noah says he is, but he only told Cody just to help Tyler so he doesn't get voted off. And Brick says that is an honorable thing to do, but he should have asked Tyler for his consent. Shauna and Gwen and Duncan would vote for Blaney, so that's 3 votes on Blaney. And the other 4 would vote for Duncan. Blaney would vote for Duncan, as there's no fan favorite here, so Duncan is actually eliminated. This shocks Duncan, and he can't believe he was voted off, saying somebody must have flipped on the plan to get out Blaney. Gwen's confused, as there's no way anyone could have flipped, believing that Blaney, that they're not sure who to trust. Gwen misses Duncan, and Noah is glad that he has 4 people in the alliance. But now that Duncan's gone, Cody is with Gwen, and he needs to break that up. Brick is in the confessional, saying that he's excited to take Tyler to the end, and today's an even challenge. They're racing down to the end, and Tyler screws up and completely manages to crash into the wall and gets across to the finish line. Owen is dragged. Blaney has her secret alliance with Chef, and Cody fails the first part of the challenge. It's then followed by Lashana. Noah calls Blaney out for cheating. Tyler, and then Brick, with Gwen winning immunity. Noah then says that we need to just vote for Blaney. Lashana, Gwen, and Cody also vote Blaney. Blaney would vote for Noah, but there isn't a tied vote here, so it's not a double elimination. Episode 21 is African Lion Safari. Noah would explain that getting rid of Lashana would be the best bet for their team, as although Tyler and Brick are bigger threats, Noah realizes Cody would be so easy to beat in the finale. On top of the fact that Gwen and Lashana are the biggest threats at this point, as Gwen is the last character who was a finalist. And those three were on his team, so he wants them out. Noah suggests they make a Team Crystal Alliance, with them agreeing. Noah does the scheming to get Ezekiel. His plan is to trip someone to win the challenge. But Brick says it's not very honorable, but Noah says fine. He'll make one of them bait, make Ezekiel run into a trap before they actually get hurt. Noah volunteers that Brick should do it because Brick is faster and definitely won't mess up. As Brick saying sure as long as his friends are safe. Meanwhile, Cody, Gwen, and Lashana are working together to try and capture the animal. Lashana saying they should vote for Noah next because he's definitely the biggest threat. Cody agrees, but he is hesitant because he is friends with Noah and Tyler. So he does suggest maybe Tyler or Brick. Shauna says, but she is friends with Tyler. The three of them are a bit worried on who to vote for. In the end, Noah is able to win immunity. Tyler and Brick asks who should win the challenge. With Brick saying Noah deserves the win as he came up with the plan, so Noah has immunity. Shauna, Gwen, and Cody would vote for Tyler. With Tyler, Gwen, and Brick, Noah, Tyler, and Brick asking Tyler who you want to face in the tiebreaker. And Tyler, as Shauna, Gwen, and Cody, the reason they picked Tyler is Tyler's a screw up and would likely lose in the tiebreaker. And Noah realizes that actually that the three of them want immunity. Chris explains only one of them can win the challenge. And Noah says it's Tyler. Noah says to Tyler that who would he want to face in the tiebreaker. Noah says Cody's a bad idea because Tyler already lost to Cody. But Tyler says he doesn't want to fight a girl because he's a gentleman. So Noah suggests it'd be better that if he went up against Gwen. Because Noah has a plan to get Gwen to lose this tiebreaker. Now Brick would volunteer himself to go against in the tiebreaker. So he would volunteer himself as tribute. However, before Chris can explain, these three would vote for Tyler, with the other three voting for Gwen. And the tiebreaker is the same tiebreaker in episode 16, where Gwen has her allergy. And I think because of that, Tyler is able to actually win this tiebreaker. On top of the fact no one can just give him tips, so I think Gwen's able to win. Although we don't know what the tiebreaker is, I'm pretty sure Tyler would lose. Gwen would Tyler do the tiebreaker in episode 16, and of course Gwen's allergy kicks in, so she loses, which Tyler is pretty shocked by. In episode 22, Noah is relieved that he's in the final 5, and needs to get out Tyler and Brick, but realizes Lashana is a massive threat, and could win most challenges if she's kept in today's challenge. The way he'll handle this is pretend to work with Lashana and Cody in an alliance to give Brick and Tyler a chance to win the challenge. Brick agrees, and Tyler and Brick run off. Noah talks to Lashana on how they need to get out Tyler next, and of course, Lashana says Tyler won the tiebreaker, so Noah says they should get rid of Brick or Tyler because Noah realized he made a mistake, and if it gets to the final 3, they're going to choose each other over him. Cody does agree, and now that Gwen's gone, he's completely loyal to Noah. Lashana is a lot more hesitant because Gwen was her friend. In the Condor song, Brick is able to win the challenge as he's much stronger and faster than Cody, Noah, and Lashana. Tyler keeps screwing up, so Brick's able to win the challenge easily with no difficulty. Lashana and Cody would vote for Tyler, and Noah has a decision with Tyler and Brick voting for Lashana. Noah would scheme and vote for Lashana, once again saving Tyler, annoying Lashana that she was right about Noah. Cody is shocked and is now concerned that he might go next in the next challenge. Episode 23 is after the Night Safari. So in the first part of the challenge is making the dinosaur with Noah winning. Tyler and Brooke would be digging with our hands, and Noah would talk to Cody and how they need to vote for Brooke or Tyler. And Cody says, yeah, right. As if. Tyler wins the challenge, but Noah points out to Cody that the logic in this situation would make the most sense. If I didn't vote with you, they would just choose each other in the end, and you have to agree Lashawna is a massive threat. Cody does agree as a result. So Tyler and Brooke, I think Tyler would win the challenge, meaning that Tyler has immunity. So Tyler and Brooke would vote for Cody because Tyler and Brooke would have to believe that Noah is on side, and Cody has no choice but to vote for Brooke. And Noah, not a lot of options, would decide to vote for Brooke. So Cody and Brooke would have to face a tiebreaker, but Cody already makes a scrappy donkey, and although Brooke goes to fashion school, we don't know how good at fashion he actually is. As in the episode where he used the glue bag bomb, he actually was the reason that the Yeti kidnapped Lindsay. So I do think in the tiebreaker, although it would be very close, I do believe Cody would narrowly beat Brooke. So fourth place is Brooke. But because there's no Sierra, the plane never blows up. Tyler is devastated that Brooke won't be in the finale with him. Brooke says, hey, it's part of the game. As a cadet, you're a strong leader. I believe in you, Tyler. You can win. Episode 24, Brooke. Because Brooke is still in Drumheller, he wouldn't play for Lauer. So instead, Owen plays for Noah. Cody. It is Noah would play for Izzy. Tyler, it would be Lashawna. And Cody, it would be Gwen. And Owen is Noah. I think Lashawna would win the advantage if Tyler and Noah gets the disadvantage. But luckily it's just a reward challenge. So episode 25, because the plane doesn't blow up, Brick would be taken into the plane with Chris, so he would just fly away. Tyler would race to the end, even more determined to defeat Noah for getting rid of Brick. Noah would be scared to face Tyler, but Cody can't be caught airplane plots because he hasn't got the plane to make it with. Noah uses his smarts to get to the end and uses the train. Tyler would also use the train, but although he wouldn't admit he's actually tired, Cody wouldn't give up because he's not in a villain's finale, but he does take the train with Noah. Noah is in an awkward position because Tyler is a bigger threat, but also so much of a klutz that he'd be so easy to beat in the finale, so he's very much in an ideal position. Tyler just about makes it to the end, so between Noah and Cody, I think Noah would use his smarts to beat Cody. So third place is Cody. So Noah and Tyler are in the finale, with them choosing as their helpers, with Owen and Izzy. Tyler chooses Brick, and of course he chooses Lindsay, as although he would have gotten really close with Harold, Lindsay is his girlfriend. And they each get winning endings, as my winner would probably be Noah or Tyler. I actually can't be between Noah or Tyler, it's really difficult, but that's the complete timeline in Total Drama World Tour. So now we'll go into Revenge of the Island. So, episode 1, Alejandro's introduction would be the same. Of course, Alejandro's charming. And Maria, Mike, and Zoe would get along very well, with Cameron also being suspicious. Alejandro would see Cameron as a threat, as of his intelligence. Stacy still causes her team the loss, so she gets voted off. Again, Dakota gets voted off like normal. Aljandro would be really good at this challenge and get his team a lot faster, so if anything, it'd be easier for Scott to pull off him sabotaging. Scott still sabotages B, and now we get some actual changes in the timeline. Because Zoe will get captured, Aljandro would suggest Joe is a good team leader, as going back to find her teammates would be a good strategy. With Joe agreeing with Aljandro, saying he's bossing her around, as Aljandro says he's just helping her improve. With, of course, Joe thanking him and, of course, going off to try and find Zoe, with her being captured. Aljandro will also be captured, with, of course, Cameron. However, because Aljandro wouldn't run off like Brick, the rats now win this challenge because Brick's not here to cost his team a loss. And I think Aljandro, Joe, and Maria would vote Cameron. And Mike, Zoe, and Cameron would vote for Maria. Now, Maria and Cameron would have to face a tiebreaker here. But this is an elimination round. This means Maria and Cameron are now put onto the rat team. So that would be interesting going forward. No elimination in episode 4, we can play episode 4. This is because Chris wouldn't see the point of a tiebreaker if it's just a team swap. Episode 5. Basically, Joe will be complaining on how they lost 2 team members, but Aljandro says no worries, as they'll figure it out. Aljandro's annoyed at the fact in confessionals that Cameron is still here as he wanted him out. Dawn can sense evilish, weird aura from Aljandro, as well as Scott. Lightning. Scott pump. Joe pumps. Aljandro pumps. I think Scott still throws the challenge. Scott will welcome Maria and Cameron to their team. And of course the maggots still win the challenge. Dawn's going to call out Scott. Scott sabotages Dawn. He gets rid of Dawn. Like normal. Episode 6 is runway model. Maria would fashion on maggot. Maria's not on the maggots team to suggest the fashion tip that she does in the original. However, I think the maggots would still win the challenge because Aljandro could just charm the Yeti. He just taught the Yeti as a result, as Aljandro could tame wild animals. So I do think the rats would lose the challenge. So Lightning and Sam would talk to. Lightning and Sam would vote for Cameron because because of him being a threat with his intellect. As Scott would want to keep Maria around as she causes drama between Mike and Zoe, she would try to break up. So the 3 vote for Cameron. Scott and Joe swap teams, and that's it. Episode 7. Scott would be misleading his team, and Maria gets captured. Lightning causes a cave-in. Aljandro talks to Zoe, and if she's okay with her saying she's fine. Aljandro's suspicious of Scott throwing challenges. Aljandro's aware of he knows what Scott's doing, but he doesn't say anything, so he acts like he doesn't know what he's saying, because this would explain how Dawn was eliminated, and people who are really smart. I think Joe would win the challenge because Maria and Sam won't turn around to save Aljandro, Scott, Mike, and Zoe, because Aljandro are able to fight the Gophers. I think they win the challenge. And Aljandro would talk to Scott on how they need to make an alliance to work together. Now Scott would agree, but Scott already has the idol, so Scott would vote for Aljandro. Mike and Zoe vote for Scott, but Scott has the idol at this point. But Scott would agree to work with Aljandro because he knows that he's going to go home. So these 2 would vote for Zoe, with the other 2 voting for Scott. And Aljandro says what they should do. With Maria still quitting after this challenge, Scott, of course, would go to Mike and Zoe. And of course, Mike and Zoe would have to face a tiebreaker. But Scott still has the immunity idol at this point, so he uses it to get rid of Zoe, which really shocks Mike. In episode 8, Dawn would come back as a player because Dawn was the closest. Dakota would still come back as a player. So, because Anne-Marie is still quit, Dakota Zoid still comes back. And the first part of the challenge remains the same. And of course, Scott's still hitting everyone's read in the wrong direction. I think Joe, Lightning, and Sam win the challenge. Mike votes for Scott, but Scott and Aljandro would vote for Dakota. And Dakota could be convinced by Aljandro to vote for Mike. And these two would vote for Scott, with the other two voting for Dakota Zoid. And Scott would lose the tiebreaker, as Scott already used his idol at this point on Zoe. Because Scott already used his idol on Zoe, so basically these two are for sure. The two out from Zoe. Now Scott would be able to beat Zoe, so Scott wouldn't use his idol. So basically, Scott and Aljandro's plan was to get Zoe to vote for him. So now, because Scott already used his idol on Zoe, Scott is eliminated. And now with the merge. So merge day, the merge cast. By these teams. Alright, because Scott just got eliminated, Dakota Zoid and Sam were with each other for the entire episode. Aljandro wouldn't know Mike has multiple personalities, but Joe and Lightning have their alliance. Aljandro would talk to Joe, Lightning, and Mike and how they need to vote for Dakota Zoid because she's a massive threat, with them agreeing. Joe wouldn't betray Lightning here because Aljandro just suggested an alliance with them so they can get out Dakota. But they still get captured. Mike would still win the challenge, as Aljandro, I imagine, would be okay at this. And Sam, Dakota are alright. Mike would choose to get rid of Dakota Zoid, as she's the biggest threat that's here. And while Mike would probably want to get rid of Aljandro, Mike has no real reason to do this, so he gets rid of Dakota Zoid. Episode 10. Aljandro replaces Zoe. Joe gets what she got in Lightning. Sam gets the bird. Bricks the helicopter. Mike gets the higher balloon. And they're able to do their challenges very easily, but Aljandro has the smoke machine. Sam can't get off the ground. Aljandro sabotages Jo while not looking, sending her out. Aljandro uses a dart, popping Mike's balloon while Mike's not paying attention. Lightning is able to win the challenge against Heather, so he wins immunity. Aljandro goes to Jo and talks on how he saw Sam sabotage her. And talks on how she saw Lightning sabotage her balloon. She's annoyed at this, but thanks Aljandro. Meanwhile, Lightning votes for Sam, because his brains out of it has gone to mush. Mike, Joe, Lightning, and Aljandro have their alliance, so they vote for Sam. Episode 11 is Eat January. Joe would be even more competitive to try and get out Lightning, with Lightning being confused on what's happening. Aljandro is grinning at this, and Mike's being a bit concerned about it. So Joe wins the first part of the challenge. It's a race that's very close, but Lightning literally is like an athlete and Joe is a 5 foot running jog, so I do think Joe would win the challenge. So Joe wins immunity. Joe would vote for Lightning, but Lightning votes for Mike. Alejandro would also vote for Lightning because Lightning could be a massive threat, but he also would to keep Lightning around. So Joe votes for Lightning, Mike votes for Lightning, Lightning votes for Mike, and Alejandro would vote for Mike. This is because Aljandro has been aware that Mike has multiple personalities, and that would be more threatening than Lightning being just a powerhouse. As I think if Cameron could figure out in 5 episodes that Mike's multiple personalities, I definitely think Aljandro could think and figure out the same thing. So Lightning and Mike would have to face a tiebreaker, and I'm pretty sure Lightning could beat Mike in just about any tiebreaker, so Mike is eliminated. In episode 12, Joe is annoyed at Aljandro for getting rid of Mike, as I thought they were getting rid of Lightning. Joe and Aljandro decide to team up to try and take out Lightning. Aljandro gets attacked by the fire plant, with of course Joe trying to race at the end, and Lightning snatching it, of course, as a result, so Lightning is able to win the challenge. And Lightning chooses to take Joe to the end, as, of course, Joe and Lightning work together to try and get out Aljandro, but realizing that Aljandro is ahead, Joe kicks Lightning into the fire plant, which distracts it, and is able to distracts Aljandro. She's able to snatch the power from him, knocking him out. Lightning wins immunity, and he takes Joe to the end as he has a more vendetta against Joe. So Lightning and Joe are in the finale, which of course the rivalry is heightened. Aljandro would support Joe to win, as it would be close, but I think Joe would probably win the season, even though I prefer Lightning. I generally don't know, but I could see either one of them winning. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. This is my short thesis will go on. If Aljandro and Brick swap seasons, and yeah, peace farewell.